This is a Kmart production, brought to you by Dudzik Chiropractic and MJB Electric.
Listener's discretion is advised. ZaBills Podcast.
Welcome to ZaBills Podcast. If this is your first time, we discuss the Bills games while we review two different Buffalo pizzas. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the big show.
All right, welcome back for another morning edition of Breakfast with ZaBills. Today, I have my co-host, Sean.
Hi, Kyle.
Sean, how are you?
We're doing great, buddy.
Good. Today's a good day. We got Devin from Utah.
Salt Lake City.
The Salt Lake City Bills backers. Is that correct, Devin?
That is great. Yeah, I'm here.
All right. How are you today?
Doing well. Glad to be on. Appreciate the offer to come out and be part of this.
Is this your first podcast interview?
I have done one other podcast interview.
Oh, who with?
Breaking Tables.
Okay. Yeah, we're in talks with them. We're going to hook up with them soon.
Try to do a co-podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. They do a pretty good job, and had a lot of fun when I was on there. So
cool. How long ago was that?
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to steal Sean's thunder. I'm going to ask his question.
Go for it.
How's the weather in Salt Lake City, if that's where you are?
It is 91 degrees, sunny. I've been out doing yard work and crap all morning, so I'm dying of heat, so it's good to be back inside.
Well, currently in where we are in Tonawanda, New York, which is the #1 podcast in Tonawanda that reviews pizzas and talks about the Bills between Sheridan Drive and Eggert Road.
Yep, ZaBills Podcast.
Yeah, we got that area locked down.
Right on.
So anyways, today our weather is a dismal 55, raining every other 15 minutes, thunderstorms, great beginning to June.
Typical Buffalo weather.
I'd take it because it was 97 the other day. So, it's a little too early for this heat.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay. So are you the chapter president for the Salt Lake City backers?
I am the president of the Salt Lake City Bills backers. I am, yes.
What is your daily to-do list or responsibilities as the president for that chapter?
Everything. I currently don't have like a vice president or anything like that, so I run the social media, I decorate the bar, I run the shout song. I kind of do everything. So.
And what is the name of the bar that you guys work with?
We're at the Brickyard Bar up in Mill Creek, which is from downtown Salt Lake. It's 10 minutes, maybe something like that.
Okay. And we have a Brickyard here. Is it a barbecue place?
It is not. No, it's a full-on sports bar.
Okay.
Devin, talk to us. Before we get back to the actual bar and the Bills backers site, which I have to compliment. I spent a lot of time on the YouTube page. You do a great job running that because you've got birthday shout-outs for random Bills players. You've got Bills updates. I mean, off-season, your Facebook page is on top. Like it's right there. It's active. It's functioning.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, let's get to why the Buffalo Bills. Why you're in Salt Lake, Utah, not necessarily central to like the NFL. We're going to get into that one too. But why the Buffalo Bills? Why go as far as you've gone to create a Bills backer bar? What's your history with the Bills?
Well, I'll start with I didn't create the group, but we'll come back to that later. But as far as the Buffalo Bills, as like a 7-8-year-old kid back in the 80s, I decided that I needed to choose a team. I didn't want to be a Broncos fan, didn't really want to be a Niners fan. My parents told me I couldn't be a Raiders fan because they're all a bunch of gangsters. So
back in that time, yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's the whole of Utah. Like that, there's obviously every team has its fan here, but those are like the core teams for this area. But Thurman Thomas was my guy. Like I love that guy, and so that's where I kind of gravitated to, and of course, obviously liked all the other guys as well. So when I was a small kid, like the buffalo was my favorite animal, so I kind of played into it a little bit. But it was good. I went through obviously all the hard years of my teenage years. knowing that I was the only Bills fan around. I never saw another Bills fan till I was like 13 years old, and it was at a family reunion. And it's kind of weird because this other kid at the family reunion, like second cousin or something like that, had a Bills hat on. And like, oh my gosh, there's two of us now. Of course, I kind of lost contact with him until actually just recently. So shout out to Travis. Welcome back to the fold. But yeah, it's kind of just that's the way it was. And I've just always been a loyal fan. And then what was it, about 6-7 years ago? I decided, you know what, I got to see if I can watch games with other Bills fans. There's got to be a group around here. And so I looked up on the chapter page on the Bills website to try and find it, because somebody had told us there was one up in Park City, a backers group. And I mean, that's about 45-minute drive from where I'm at. Didn't really want to drive that every day, but I was willing to. Went up there. There wasn't any. There was no other Bills fans, so I was kind of disappointed. Came back down, found the Salt Lake chapter, ran into Dave Todorov, who created the group. And I mean, he put it together. He and his friends kind of got together at a previous bar, and it was fun to get together with him, watch games. We basically, there was, I'd probably say 15 to 20-ish that would show up from time to time. We put together the social media pages. It kind of got bigger where we were like 30, 40. And I mean, that's kind of where it kind of just took off from there, because we're averaging well over 100 per game. That playoff game, we had well over 300. I mean, it's a good time down here.
So usually that's the part of the interview where we hear, oh, well, we grew up in Clarence, and then we moved to Utah, or we grew up in Williamsville, went to Utah. But were you born and raised in Utah or the Midwest, or were you? Because you sounded like you had some family connections with Buffalo with your second cousin. Do you have any connection with the Buffalo area?
Zero.
Okay, wow.
My second cousin is also from here.
Oh,
we have
okay.
no connections to Buffalo. I've personally only been to Buffalo one time, and it was for the snowmobile or the snow game back against Indy back in 2017.
Okay,
that is my only time to Buffalo.
Wow. We've talked to a lot of chapter presidents. And I would say about 80% of them have just moved. They lived in Western New York. They lived in Buffalo. They've got a Buffalo connection. They moved out, started a Bills backer bar, and boom. We've only had a couple. You're maybe the second one that had absolutely no ties to Western New York. So this is a kind of a new experience for us too. I mean, that really adds an element, right? You're almost kind of given to be a Bills fan because you were born here, but you weren't born here. And the Bills,
nope.
I can tell, like right around the time period you're talking about, the Bills were kind of a rough team to root for, but you stuck it out.
Oh yeah, it was rough because my brother's a Cowboys fan, so I had to live through those 2 years of dealing with that crap. But yeah, I have to say that Dave, who was our original founder and president, he is from Buffalo. I can't remember which town he was from there. It may come back to me, but he moved back to Buffalo last year.
Why would he come back?
He's actually coming back.
Oh, so now he's coming back to Utah?
Yeah, he's coming back to Utah. So
yeah, our winter was pretty long. That'll turn you right back.
He probably gets...
Yeah.
You guys get a decent amount of snow probably, right?
We get a decent amount of snow. Mostly up in the mountains. But down here in the valley, because like Salt Lake sits in a big bowl, basically there's mountains on either side. And so we can get hit pretty hard. We get lake effect snow, and it's funny because we as Utahns are always like, oh, we have lake effect snow. And then all the Buffalo fans are like, yeah, that's not lake effect snow.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same, but that's funny.
No, it's not. I lived that when I came back to that Indy game.
Yeah.
That was lake effect snow. I mean, we got
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, that was good.
The owner of Brickyard, do they have any ties to Buffalo, or are they just...
You're home.
They are just our home.
Okay.
He basically, we've actually been at 3 bars in 6 years. The first bar was fantastic. They were perfect for what the size we were. But they were unwilling to accommodate us for COVID. And so when COVID hit, they have an upstairs area that's outside. We said, you know what, just let us have that area. And they were unwilling to do it. And I'm thinking, these are all Buffalonians. They're going to be fine standing outside to watch the Bills game. They don't care.
Yep. Put one little heater out there and you'll be good.
Yep. So one of our previous members actually worked at another bar, and they're like, hey, tell you what, come to our bar. We'll give you the upstairs private room. And that worked for like 2.5 years. And it was fantastic. We had like leather couches, but we filled it so much that people were having to sit on the floor to watch games. And I mean, it was pretty wild. So we kind of went looking a little bit, and we were told about Brickyard and how they would be willing to have us. So we went and checked out. They gave us their whole basement bar that when it had like 2 TVs above the bar that were probably like 40-inch TVs, and then like 3 TVs across that were like 50-inch TVs. For that first season, they loved us so much that like over the summer, they upgrade all of those TVs. Like we got 3 75-inch TVs across the one wall, another 70-incher on the other wall. The bar is still just like these small ones above the bar, but still works great. And then, of course, if we need overflow, all upstairs has, I don't know, 5 or 6 TVs. They've got one that's like a 100-inch 8K TV that's absolutely beautiful. I wish we could bring that downstairs, but, costs way too much. So beautiful bar. Actually, just recently, they were named Best in Salt Lake for a sports bar, and then also for their wings.
Oh,
yeah. So it was their wings are very, very good. I wouldn't say that they are quite Buffalo quality, but they are very, very good. But I don't think you can really get anything that's really good quality out here anyway. But they were voted that. The bar brings in Genesee and Labatt's for us. So that's always a good thing, and people really love that.
That's a long way.
How's the pizza there? They've got quite the selection of pizza there at the Brickyard. Well, I was going to say...
Does it look wood-fired? That picture look
Oh,
wood-fired?
it does look wood. It looks pretty good. It looks like a nice establishment there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the pizza's not bad. I can't say that in 2.5 years, I've only had the pizza once. So I'm more of a give me my wings, let me watch the game kind of guy. So,
hey, well, when you were in Buffalo, did you do the full Buffalo tour, or because of the snow you couldn't really do too much?
So we did a little bit. We had to go up to Toronto for my daughter because she wanted to go to a couple places. So we drove up there.
Oh, did you experience the awesome traffic that's up there?
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic.
Freaking terrible. It's terrible in Toronto.
We did, obviously, Niagara and stuff like that. So we did some touristy stuff.
Sure.
But then as far as like food, we hit Duff's first thing.
Good choice.
That's where I was told to go to.
Good choice.
And it was very, very good. We then the next night hit Anchor Bar, which was subpar.
Yep.
But it was the experience, right? You
Sure. Got to go and realize you don't go back.
And then the next night we hit Duff's again. I wish I would have probably tried something else, but yeah, so we did tons of wings. Next time I come up there, there's going to be a lot of other things that we'll be trying. But
all right, well, at least you went to Duff. So, okay, I'm glad you said Duff. So how do the wings at Brickyard compare to the wings you had at Duff? Similar? Not as good? Close?
They're close.
Okay,
yeah, close,
then that's a good wing
but,
then.
Yeah,
better than Anchor Bar, right?
Better than Anchor Bar, yes.
Okay. All right, did you get any Buffalo pizza while you were here?
We were over, obviously I'm from Utah, so
sure.
I had to do some church stuff. So I went over to Palmyra, and we hit
went to Palmyra, New York?
Place. Yeah, Palmyra over next to Rochester.
Yeah, I know where that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's us crazy Mormons out here.
Okay.
But we hit a pizza place over there, and I can't tell you the name of it, but
yeah.
I mean, that was the best pizza I've ever had. It was so good.
Wow.
Wow, in Palmyra.
I'll have to
Good.
do some research.
Yeah. Huh.
Very
All right.
cool. Very cool.
So you got a buffalo-ish wing at the Brickyard. Did you guys bring? I know we always ask beef and weck.
No beef and weck.
So-
Really, that's like the extent of our
Beers
buffalo
and,
food. Yeah, so
wings.
beer and
Yeah,
wings.
That's good enough for a game, right?
Yeah, that's good enough. I'm going to try and talk him into doing some, like, I don't know, Red Hots or some Salem's dogs or something like that. But
Yeah.
not quite sure if he'll get around to it, but I'm going to try.
So you have a nice setup there. I mean, I'm just looking at the actual Brickyard photographs. I mean, the food looks great. The service looks great. I mean, the area looks fantastic. You said you get about 100 to 200 Bills fans per game. Is that accurate, or am I off?
Yeah, so I would probably say on average we're about 100.
Okay.
And then on certain games we've definitely broke 150, and then playoffs have always been. I mean, last year, 2 seasons ago they were 150, 200. This last playoff game, I stopped counting at 300, and it was just wild.
And I've got to ask this question because you're in a non-really NFL section of the country. If you're not rooting for the Buffalo Bills, what team do you typically see the people of Utah, Salt Lake City, really pulling for? Like, because you don't have a professional football team, right?
The South Park Cows.
Maybe.
It is a very, I would probably say about mix of Broncos and Raiders. Those are definitely the two biggest.
Is that because the Vegas has moved closer to you guys, or is it just because, hey, the LA connection, you're sandwiched between LA and Denver, Colorado?
Yeah, LA, Oakland. I mean, it definitely was the Raiders. Like my entire fantasy football team or league, they're all Raiders fans -2, me and another Bills fan.
Okay. Silver and black, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know, we can see you're really big.
Hey, back in the day, man, Bo Jackson was awesome to watch. Even regardless of what team you liked, that guy was awesome.
4 consecutive years, that man was the greatest athlete. For that 4 years in the early 90s.
Wasn't his last game against Buffalo?
Oh, might have been, but he
got his hip?
He suffered that injury in Cincinnati.
Okay.
So I don't know how much he played after that. 30 for 30 on Bo Jackson is fantastic. But yeah, we digress there a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, Utah, Salt Lake City. We were mentioning off air a little bit earlier. We're impressed with the fandom that you have in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, shout out to Salt Lake City.
Our podcast is the second largest, or the next state after New York that follows ZaBills is
Utah.
Utah.
And the number one city in Utah that listens to ZaBills is Salt Lake City. So shout out to Salt Lake City. Thank you very much, everyone out there. Second to New York.
So, Devin, let's get more into the Buffalo Bills. It's been an interesting offseason. The draft was also, I would say, slightly interesting here. What's your forecast for the Buffalo Bills? We've lost a lot of that 23-24 team. They've been cut, not signed, moved on. We've also had a new crop of draft picks enter, Coleman being the primary target. What's your forecast for the upcoming Buffalo Bills season?
Well, I want to be that guy that says we're going undefeated. I mean, it's our year every year, right?
Yep.
I'm a little more realistic in thinking it's going to be an okay season. I'm not out to say records or anything like that. I think that if things click with a lot of these new guys, if Coleman can be the football player that he is on camera, I mean, he is going to be a star, right?
You better be.
And so, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I love Coleman so much, and most of my offseason here has been kind of focused on him, just like watching everything I can of this guy. I'm very excited for him. Other guys, I mean, I'm more like, let's see what they're going to do before I get too excited or too disappointed.
You think this kid's the real deal?
I think so. I mean, just watching a few videos and stuff like that, I mean, He's got good hands. He's pretty quick. Was I like screaming and swearing up a storm at the TV on draft night round 1 when we kept trading away those picks and giving away that Xavier Worthy kid because I thought he was fast? Yeah, I was pretty pissed off. But at the same time, I watch those videos now, and I'm like, I see Xavier Worthy out there dropping pass after pass after pass.
Hey, at least you're 2 hours behind with the draft. We had to we stayed up till like 12:45 that night.
I feel bad for the Bills backer president over in Italy. Like he was up till middle of the night or whatever waiting for that.
Oh, that was like the guy from London we were talking to.
We had a gentleman from London go there, and basically he was 5
he went to bed and woke up.
Oh yeah, he set his time. He set his alarm clock just to get up for that.
Yeah, no thanks. That's a diehard there.
Yeah,
Devin, looking at where Utah is set up with Salt Lake City, kind of in the northeast version of it, you guys are right next door to Wyoming. Is there a big Josh Allen following in Salt Lake City, Utah?
There is. I've got a neighbor down the street who's a huge Wyoming guy. I mean, he went to Wyoming and such. He actually has come out to the bar, and I hate to say, he's become a Bills fan because of Josh Allen.
What was he before?
What's that?
What team did you root for before converting?
The Donkeys. I mean, the Broncos.
The Donkeys.
So. We have this really fun old couple that they show up and they're in their Josh Allen jerseys and they're just going crazy, and I love it. And it's all because of Josh Allen. They moved down here from Wyoming, and they're in it now. So it's pretty fun to see those guys. But yeah, there's a pretty good backing of Josh here.
With those 100 or so fans that kind of come to the Bills game, do you notice a lot of Western New York transplants to Utah? Or are these just homegrown Utah fans that just know good football?
95% are transplants, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny because I, being from here, being to Buffalo one time, I don't know all the towns back there, but so like getting to know people like, oh yeah, I'm from Tonawanda, or I'm from, my mind's going blank now, but like all these different places. And
sure.
Like I would probably say, 50% or even from Rochester, that area. So it's kind of fun to have the mix between Buffalo and Rochester and seeing the dynamics that come from those two areas.
Hey, of the transplants that you know or are friendly with, did they give you a reason why they picked Utah over staying in New York?
A lot of it's work.
Okay.
So like they got moved out here, or they were given an opportunity to transplant someplace, and of course they saw the mountains of Utah, and so it's like we want to come out here and be next to the mountains, because Salt Lake, you could be up in the mountain skiing within 20, 30 minutes, depending upon where you're at 6-7 different resorts.
Okay.
Summertime, you could be up at the lakes and into the hills, hiking, biking, whatever, within, again, 30 minutes. So it's a great place to come to have a little bit of like city life, but also be right there to get the outdoor stuff.
And how are the taxes there?
They're not great. I mean, Salt Lake, Utah is, it used to be this kind of small town. And I mean, everybody kind of knew each other and stuff like that. In the last 20 years, it's become this crazy place where we've like doubled the population. And I mean, it's wild. It's crazy how much it's grown here, and housing's gotten out of hand. And I mean, when I bought my house, 18 years ago, I want to say the average house was $150,000 or something like that. And now, average house is $450,000. So
wow. What's the sales tax where you are?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I just live here.
Oh. Well, I was just curious if it was higher than Erie County at 8 3/4.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that's pretty similar.
Okay. All right. Back. You mentioned the bar for a second. I was going to jump back for a second before I got too far and I totally forget to ask this. Have you guys ever had any former Bills players come in for any games or events or anything that you guys have had?
We've had one. So Kirk Chambers, which is a guy who played back in the late 90s. I think it was late 90s. Offensive line. He lives here now. Or
Okay.
He's from here.
All right.
And so Dave, who previous president, taught his kids tennis because that's what he does. And he's like, hey, you got to come out to a bar. Well, Kirk Chambers just happens to be a Mormon bishop and was like, well, I can as long as it's like a primetime game Monday or Thursday or whatever. So we had a primetime game. I think it was a Monday night game. And he shows up, had a great time, took pictures with people, and just kind of had fun. I mean, obviously he's not a big name or anything like that, but it was cool to have a former Bills player in the house with us. He leaves. We have a great time. And then Dave tells me the next day, he's like, yeah, that was their first time in a bar.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
There's
it
no
was
drinking
awesome.
permitted.
Oh,
No, that's very, very, very strict. There's no drinking permitted in really.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dry area, Utah, in terms of the alcohol. But that's I'm looking into some numbers right now. Kirk Chambers, big dude,
Big guy.
stocky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to stand out at your bar.
Yeah, I'm a 6'2", 300-pound guy. I'm a big guy. And standing next to him, I felt really small.
He's got 5 inches on you, and you're 6'2". Yeah, wow, yeah. Yep, from Utah, born and raised in Provo, Utah. Yeah.
Good old Provo, yep.
Yep, good at number 73. Kirk Chambers. Yeah, that's someone we look up. That's someone we'll have to check out his stats a little bit later. That's interesting. You've got a history with the Buffalo Bills. How long have you been a fan of the Buffalo Bills for, would you say? When did you start becoming a Bills fan?
So 30, how old am I? 36 years?
Okay.
So I'd probably put it in 36 years, yeah.
36 years, Buffalo Bills fan, loyal, representing all the way from Utah. We ask every Bills backer this question.
going for it immediately, huh?
Going forward immediately. Give us your... Well, no. Not
no,
that one.
okay. All right,
I want his Buffalo
Sorry.
Bills moment. It can be anything from 36 years ago. It could be something as recent as 2 months ago. Give me the moment that crystallized your fandom as a loyal Buffalo Bills follower.
I wouldn't say that anything has crystallized it because I've just always been such a
You don't
fan,
know
and
anything else.
I'd probably have to go back to just watching Thurman Thomas play when I'm back in what would it be, 89 or whatever. That was I'm in. That's my guy. And that would probably be when I was crystallized as a Bills fan, but there's too many other awesome experiences to.
Did you watch the comeback game?
To tell you the truth, I know I did, but can I remember any of the story or, the experience that I had? No. It was in my house by myself, I'm sure, as a kid.
Right. What about Thurman Thomas appealed to you as a young fan?
I don't know. When you're a kid and you idolize a sports player, it's just about how good they are, or the numbers that they were putting up, things like that. And to me, he was just that guy. And so, yeah.
You had some good other guys to pick from, and you fell into
yeah.
Thurman, like Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Bo.
Here, if you remember back, starting lineup, action figure things.
Yes.
I was able to get one of those here in Utah, which I was so shocked with because they never had anything Buffalo here in Utah. So that helped.
Okay.
So did you have the Thurman Thomas starting lineup?
Oh yeah, still have it.
And you know what, Kyle brings that up. You not only was this kind of the golden age of running backs, but even on the Buffalo Bills, we interviewed Brian from DC recently, and he talked about really liking and connecting with Bruce Smith, and you had Kelly, Reed, Thomas, Talley, Smith, just in the Buffalo Bills team. it's a
Oh,
legitimate question. You had options there to kind of fall in love with. That's why I followed up with Thurman Thomas, but he's a great selection. He's a great guy. He's been great for the area. He's kind of stayed local and is a good representative of what it is to be a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice. I just,
No,
you know what I
not at
mean?
all.
Like Barry Sanders and him went to college together. Both great. I mean, Barry Sanders was electric, though. Too bad he wasn't on a better team.
Right. He was in.
He was on a better team.
He's in purgatory. I mean,
my God.
that's where Barry Sanders was.
That guy. Holy smokes. All right. Yeah. So overall, did you like the draft?
Not really. I mean, I paid attention to most of it, but I didn't really. There wasn't anybody that was coming in this year that I was like, oh, we got it. Like, I'm excited to see this player, that player.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, in terms of positions that they drafted, they went after everything they needed, right?
Oh yeah. Now it's just, will that gamble pay off?
Right. I mean, with 10 or 11 picks, God willing, like 6, maybe 5 of them, 4 of them become starters.
When you have no cap space, that's kind of the route you have to
right.
take.
And then I was listening to, who was I listening to? Maybe Matt Perino on his podcast, Shout, was talking about now that Trey White's money is gone, it frees up 10 point change million, but 4 of it is going to be signing rookies, and then a little bit here, a little bit there. They're not left with very much to do anything in terms of grabbing a guy like a Floyd type of player that we could, take advantage of. So I don't know if they'll be able to do very much of anything other than they got.
No, and I see it like where all these pickups that we had this year, and I think it's kind of all over the NFL this season, is everybody that's picked up is only on like 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just going to be a free for all again next season. I mean, it's going to be wild.
Well, yeah, until Von Miller's money's gone, and and sadly you paid Josh all that money. I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah.
He's your face.
I mean, do you think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league, or do you think Mahomes is better?
I would put Josh and Mahomes probably. I mean, it's day to day. They're both fantastic quarterbacks. I would take Josh any day over Mahomes, though.
You know what's too bad is that Mahomes wasn't in the frickin' NFC.
Right.
If he would be in the NFC, that would be so much better.
Right.
Well,
Devin,
if we could just beat them, I mean, in the playoffs. I mean, obviously we beat them regular season. Get that playoff hump.
Right.
That would be so much better.
Right.
they absolutely get up for them. Obviously the Bills raise their game a bit. We saw that during the regular season when we play them a little bit, but it's just almost that playoff magic they have over us. It's tough to. They're a tough team to beat. They're a good team. They're well coached. Kansas City is, and it's a stepping stone that the Bills have to get over if they want to go to the next level.
Yeah, and I think I heard you guys talking with somebody else about the coaching.
Yes, I was going to ask you about what your thoughts are on our coachings.
I kind of agreed with what you guys were saying with how we could just use better coaching. And I love McDermott. He's great, but he is getting out coached all the time.
Right.
Yeah. It's the game management decisions and hey, let's try to draw them off sides and burn a timeout. I mean, if you're going to kick the field, if you're going to punt anyways, why not just take a delay a game? Save the timeout, right? Like, what's 5 yards? Is that really? I mean, I guess at the end of the day, 5 yards could make a difference, right, John? Devin? Yeah, I don't know.
It could. Early when he was trying that, they were actually able to get the first down, draw someone off sides, but the league has caught on to that tactic, I think, because other teams have tried it as well. My problem with McDermott is I don't have a suitable replacement. I don't have anyone that's off the top of my head that I'm like, oh, wow, he's going to be he's the guy we're missing. He's the upgrade. And until we have that sort of guy, whether he's up and coming or he's released from his team, it's hard to stray away from McDermott. Even though we've all we're ready to move on for a change, show me the next guy, and then it's hard to find that guy.
Yeah, because we don't want to go back to Giron days or crap like that, right?
We've got the stability.
Absolutely not.
No, we were lost without a quarterback, and we seem to be lost without a coach. for like, I want to say maybe 96, 97 all the way through. Maybe McDermott's higher. He's been the most stable. Even the Marv Levy, like, bring him back, wasn't as stable as we've had over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah. Could you imagine Marv Levy nowadays with this team?
Oh man.
Okay, so let me ask you this
That
question.
just popped into my head. That'd be great.
Because let me ask you this question, because Sean and I are the same age. We're about 43 years old, and you sound like you're a couple years younger than us.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, perfect. So watching the Bills back in the day, I did not have the mental capacity to analyze if Marv Levy was a good coach or not. I've heard people who are older than me tell me that he was not a great coach. But the fact that they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row kind of is like, oh, yeah, he's a great coach. You got him there 4 years in a row. I mean, you did have a stud team for a couple years. I don't know anything about. I don't remember enough to say if he was good or not.
What's your take on the Marv Levy legacy?
I mean, obviously because of the legacy. That's
Yeah.
to me that was something great that I had.
Yeah.
Like one of my, I've been trying to like collect signatures and stuff like that from various different players that are from that era, and I finally got a Marv Levy signed football, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Oh,
but
nice.
like trying to, I also didn't get to watch that many games here in Utah because they obviously weren't played back here.
Right.
Luckily, they were good enough that we got a few games here or there. But yeah, so I don't know that I could really say Marv Levy was as good as what we all put him up on that pedestal, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably say yes, he still is, because I just love the guy.
Devin, that's got to be frustrating being a Bills fan all your life in a market and not being able to watch every game.
Oh, yeah.
And well,
Yes,
I mean,
we basically got to watch like 3 or 4 games maybe during the good years, and then obviously the playoffs and Super Bowl. During all the crap years, I mean, I would get 1 game a year, and it was like the preseason Pro Bowl game or the Hall of Fame game or whatever it was when we played there. And it was super frustrating to not be able to watch the games. And I'm not one that's going to go fork out all the money for DirecTV's Sunday ticket and crap like that. So now having a bar that I can just be like, hey, it's on every week. We have a dedicated area. This is great.
I think that's so 2 things. That's got to be the benefit of having the chapter in these cities and towns that are not in the Buffalo market is now you can watch your team when you want to watch your team.
Oh, yeah.
2, oh man, I'll come back to it. I forgot what I was going to say for my 2 parts.
Devin, you talked about being a struggling Bills fan out there. Obviously, as an adult, things change. How often, if you can at all? I mean, I'm looking. It's hard to find a market you could actually just pick up and go to. Denver, Vegas got a little bit closer to you guys, but how often, if at all, are you able to actually go see the Bills when they come to town or any professional football live in person?
Yeah, I could bounce down to Vegas. I mean, it's a 6-hour drive.
It's still
And I mean, that's nothing for Utah. We drive forever because there's nothing around here.
right.
How far is Denver?
But what was that?
How far is Denver?
Denver's 8 hours.
Oh God.
I know.
Yeah.
So okay,
So
okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's those are all close, and so those would be the places that would be great if we come out and play. Of course, I don't want to go to Denver the end of the season because Denver sucks, and it's too cold, and I can't afford good seats. So sitting up top in that place is supposed to be really, really bad. So, like for instance, I've been to L.A. I was at the Nathan Peterman game, and that was my first NFL game. That sucked. I followed that up like 3 weeks later, going to Buffalo for the snow game.
Okay.
Like that was fantastic to follow that up with. But then, so I've been to Dallas for the Thanksgiving game a few years back.
that's in the new
amazing.
stadium, right?
Yeah.
Jerry's place.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is a fantastic stadium. Like that was fun. And the Dallas backers group put on a heck of a
Oh, cool.
tailgate beforehand. It was fun.
Were you able to connect? Wait, are you talking about the Dallas backers that support the Dallas Cowboys, or the Dallas backers?
No, buddy, the Bills.
I just wanted clarification. That
Do you
is
think
awesome.
the Dallas Cowboys backers are going to throw a good tailgate? No, they're going to be over there like roping cows or something like that. I don't know.
Hey, Devin, do you guys have a secret handshake between chapter presidents?
I'm going to come up with one.
There you go. Heard it
Pass
first.
around.
ZaBills secret handshakes.
But
So then let's see, where else have we been? Oh, we've been to Arizona during COVID. That was fun.
Okay.
It was expensive, but it was a blast because we were in a stadium with 4,200 people is all they let in.
Wow.
That was incredible. Of course, then Deontay Hopkins caught that crap pass in the end zone.
You were at that game?
I was at that game, yeah.
Was that Hail Murray?
Yes.
Yeah, Hail Murray. I'm like 50-50 because I've had some good games, I've had some bad games. Because
They've
the other
been
game I went
memorable,
to was
for
that
sure.
first the playoff game in Houston.
Yeah.
So there's close enough places that I can bounce around to try and catch a game, but they are still pretty far away.
They're a hike. They're a hike.
All right, my question came back to me, Devin. At home, when you're watching TV or football that's not a Bills game, who is your home market for like, who's your home market?
So it would be. It's changed so much because the Broncos would have been that home market.
Okay.
But they've been so bad lately that they haven't been playing them, and that's kind of the case with the Raiders as well. So it's a lot of Niners, Seahawks,
Oh.
and then whatever Fox's game of the week is. So
Okay.
You mentioned that. I thought of the question I was going to ask before I asked about the last. Sorry, I'm stumbling here. You talked about collecting autographs. Is that your hobby that kind of go along with the Buffalo Bills? Is that just something you do? You're just like, you like that specific era of Buffalo Bills team? Take us through that, because that sounds like you got yourself like a little side hobby right there.
Well, I would wish it was more of a hobby because then I would have more of them. But I'm trying to build up a shrine as big as I can in the basement of Bills memorabilia and stuff like that. And I have some pretty good stuff. But yeah, so I've got a full size helmet that's Thomas, Reed, and Kelly. I mean, that's awesome. I love that one.
That's a good one.
And then I've got a Marv Levy football. And then I've got a Josh helmet. It's a mini helmet. Who else did the mini helmets? Tasker. Got a Micah Hyde football. There's one other down there. I can't remember who it was. But, yeah, so I've got quite a few of those. Like I said, I wish I had more. I've only ever gotten to meet one player, and that was Andre Reed at that L.A. game. And
Cool.
So, before the game, before we left here home, I went through, all my old, baseball, basketball, football cards and found an Andre Reed card to take with me, so I've got to sign that. And then I have a signed jersey from him.
You knew he was going to be available for that stuff?
Yeah, he was the Southern California Bills backers group there through a little tailgate.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, he was supposed to make an appearance and do signings and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you collaborate a lot with the Bills backers throughout, I would say, the Southwest, right? So if you're going to a game, you connect with them and they take care of you. And I'm assuming vice versa if they're coming to Utah, right?
Yeah, so nobody's coming to Utah because we don't have our games here.
Right.
So, but if they ever did, yeah, we're definitely taking care of them. So the LA game was really before I got involved with the backers group here, but for sure in Dallas, that was when I first was kind of getting involved, and I was kind of starting up what I was going to do to make this backers group better. And so I talked with them a bunch and kind of got the ideas from what they did to build their group, because we were so much smaller. And so Ryan Strobel, who's the VP down there, he and I had a really long conversation. And so I give him a lot of credit for him helping me build the Salt Lake City Bills backers, because he gave me ideas of kind of what to do with social media and what to do at the bar. And I mean, you get a lot of encouragement of just like, whatever you do, just keep doing it because it'll just keep rolling like a snowball. And I was like, heck yeah. So that's what I've kind of done. So definitely Dallas is one that I'd reached out to. When I went to the Arizona game, I kind of chatted with their president, Mike Hummel, a little bit. But man, he was running all over left and right. Josh's parents were in town, or his mom and his sister, and they were there. So he was trying to take care of them more than anything else, which I definitely understood. So yeah, it's good to kind of follow the other backers groups to see what they're doing, and hopefully they're seeing what I'm doing that we can all kind of like make our individual groups all that much better.
Are you able to collaborate with the Buffalo Bills at all? Are they hands off? How does it work with the actual team and you being a backer?
So they are pretty much hands off, with an exception of a Facebook group that they started that somebody at front office kind of handles and will answer questions, but not really. Like it's almost more of a collaboration group on there. What was it, 3 seasons ago? Maybe it was more than that. They sent out a box with like some keychains and a couple of different things like that. It was cool that we could kind of hand it out to the group. And then 3 seasons ago, they were like, hey, give us your address. We're going to send you a banner that makes you an official Bills backer group. That's and cool. I was thinking, right on a banner. And it's like a 2x2 banner. But it is awesome. It's like, it says something like Mafia Home Away from Home. I can't remember. I'll have to pull it out again because I just hang it up at the bar whenever we go down there. But I was like, yeah, that's not quite what I was thinking, but it is still really cool. And I know, I appreciate it. It'd be nice if they did a little bit more, but at the same time, I mean, anybody can start a backers group, and I think they've had a lot of that happening.
That's cool.
You mean like unauthorized backer bars starting?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, anybody can just go be like, hey, this is our Bills backer group, and we'll start it up. I mean, yeah, if they can get a following, but most people don't have a following, or there's already a backers group there, and they're kind of just trying to take away from it. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of that stuff on that page that other places have been running into that sort of thing. And right. So I think we have a good enough group that we're all just like, hey, it's all good to just meet together. So,
because one backer president we were talking to, he said that you almost have to apply and then get authorized, because he said that he was applying. Oh, it's the guy from Virginia, Rich. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said that they came back and said, oh, sorry, you were declined because there's X amount of Bills backers too close together and they didn't want more. And
oh, wow.
So then he had to tell them that one of them like closed the 2 years before, and then that let us know that maybe the Bills aren't up to date on all of their chapters, that, you know, some have folded and some have moved. And that's one of the things that the front office was doing this last year, was they were sending out like a recertification, because there is kind of you do have to send a form in and say like, we have this bar to be at, here's our president, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Luckily, I like I said, I didn't set up our group. Dave did. And so when I took it over, I just had to send it into the front office, be like, hey, I'm the new president, here's my info, on we go. But yeah, like I said, I've just seen a bunch of stuff on that Facebook group. So maybe I'm just a little not quite aware, because we don't have a lot of people out here that are trying to do that sort of thing. And we have an established backers bar here.
Devin, we're going to hit you with a question we've asked all of our Bills backers interviewers so far. It's kind of more of a psychological assessment of where are you as a Buffalo Bills fan. We're going to give you a scenario. We want to see what you would decide under this kind of fictitious scenario. So it goes something like this. The Buffalo Bills in one transaction trade Josh Allen for futures, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks, but nothing that's going to help this year. In the next transaction, they send Josh Allen on his way. They sign Tom Brady for 1 year. Under this crazy scenario, Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl. So we're guaranteeing you a 2025 Super Bowl. The trade-off is we don't know what Josh Allen's going to do, because he's got still a lot of life left. Would you take that deal, Tom Brady 1 year guaranteed Super Bowl, or are you going to ride and die with Josh Allen?
I'm going to ride and die with Josh Allen. There's no way. Would I appreciate the Super Bowl? Hell yeah. However, with Brady, it would just hurt.
Yeah.
So I definitely ride and die with Josh Allen.
What if we could swap Belichick for McDermott and guarantee a Super Bowl?
I think that's even worse.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I seeing how much he's struggled over the last couple of seasons without Brady shows he's not the coach that he was with Brady. I mean, Brady was making him who he was. And on top of how many scandals that he's been the person that's pinpointed it for cheating and such, can't stand that guy.
I think McDermott needs to get himself into a scandal so maybe he could start winning some of these
maybe.
bigger games.
He's got his legal scandal, 13 seconds. So, I mean, he's kind of got a scandal, but it was all fair. It wasn't anything too
unreal,
criminal. But, yes, he's got a little bit of legacy there, too. In terms of the Buffalo Bills, you might have already answered this with your previous answer about McDermott and Josh Allen. Around Buffalo, it's the mantra, if it's not Bills Mafia or 12th man, it's win one before I die. Do you have faith in the Buffalo Bills that in our lifetime, we're all around the same age, they're going to be able to bring home a Super Bowl trophy? And if the answer is yes, what's the number one reason why you have that faith in this franchise?
I definitely believe that we'll get one before we die, but I kind of feel like it's kind of in Bills fans' hearts is like, it's always our year, right? But trying to get that faith to be like, oh, it's definitely going to happen is really tough. I do think it will, but hey, that's probably the toughest question, just because like I'm a believer. I mean, in front of my house throughout football season, I have my Bills Believe flag always flying. I have to get a new one because it's kind of been worn down. But it's just always have that faith that it's going to happen.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Do you think that Josh Allen finishes his career in Buffalo, and do you think he'll actually win a Super Bowl while he's here?
I do think that he will.
Okay.
I just see how much he actually loves the town, and that's from an outsider's perspective. He really loves Buffalo, and you can definitely see it in the way he acts, the way he talks about Buffalo and stuff. So I do see him being the one that does it. Will it be this year? Of course it's going to be this year, right?
Right.
But if it's not, I'm guessing that we'll have it in the next couple of seasons, because I think they're doing a pretty good job of putting pieces together, kind of removing the players that are a little more defective. I don't know if that's the right word, but to try and bring in bigger, better talent for Josh to get at. And again, that's just one of those things that's going to have to be seen.
Yeah.
Because it could potentially, like Coleman could take off and just destroy the league, which that's what I'm hoping for. But will it happen? I don't know.
Well, my fear is that, being the franchise that we are and that we're cursed, and Josh Allen is the best quarterback that's ever played football in Buffalo, is that he will not finish his career here and he'll go somewhere else and win it. That's my fear, is he's too good. It's just, the curse. Just, we'll have him and we'll squander it and nothing will happen. He'll be the greatest quarterback in Bills history. He'll set every statistical record, and then end of this contract or 1 or 2 years left, they'll ship him out because he wants to win and he's getting tired of it, and he'll go somewhere and win it like Tom Brady did. I don't know. That's my deep fear.
I don't know that he'll be able to win it somewhere else because, he fits Buffalo. He's that small town kid, comes from a small town college, I mean, he fits Buffalo.
Yeah.
He's not going to go to Dallas and be who he is in Buffalo. He's not going to go to LA and be the guy that he is in Buffalo. I see him getting swallowed up by some of those big cities like that. He fits Buffalo better than anywhere else he could play.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
A non-football question. How excited is Utah for an NHL hockey team?
Well, there's 16,000 seats available. There were 34,000 deposits put down for season tickets.
Wow, they're excited.
So
Yeah.
I think they're excited. I mean, it's going to be just a big boost to sports in Utah. The Jazz have been that team for all the years because they're the only real professional team. We do our soccer team as well, but I mean, it's still soccer, and people are still trying to warm up to that. I'm a soccer guy. I have season tickets to that. So
Real Salt Lake.
But, yeah, I'm a big Real Salt Lake fan. But I think hockey is going to become, I think, number one in the state.
Excellent. So let me ask you this. You being a resident, do you have any insider info on what the team name is going to be? I heard it's down to 6.
It's down to 6, and really the 5th or the 6th name that they have out there is the hockey club.
Yeah.
And I think they only threw that in there because they wanted to have a round number. They weren't going to put 5 names out there.
Or
and so
because they can, if they go with that, they can change it again.
Yeah. I think there's a really good chance that it's going to be the Yetis, with the Outlaws and Venom maybe being a very close second.
How does Venom apply to Utah, though?
Rattlesnakes. Yeah.
Oh, is there that many out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of rattlesnakes in Utah.
That'll do it.
We are a desert.
Oh, okay.
That'll
right.
do it.
Yeah.
We usually think like Arizona, really like southwest near the Mexican border. But yeah, Utah would probably have those rattlesnakes too.
I like the Yeti because
yeah.
I think a logo will be
flows.
really cool. Yeah. Does it really flow, though?
See, I think
Utah
Say
Yetis?
Utah Yetis.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
know.
It's really close to Colorado Avalanche, though. That's my only concern.
No, Blizzard.
And that's-
Blizzard's an option, isn't it?
No.
Blizzard is an option, and I like Blizzard as long as they use the Yeti as the mascot.
Yeah.
But I think Blizzard is again one of those that's way down the list. I actually like Outlaws. I think that'd be kind of cool. Some of the logos that people have made up for it kind of fit. They could change the Delta Center into the saloon, which would be so appropriate for Utah being a bar, right? But I think there's some pretty cool things that they could do with Outlaws, and because Yeti's has the history with the Avalanche, that kind of throws that out for me. But I'm behind it. Yeti's is kind of a cool name, and they'll have some cool logos and stuff.
Who's the owner of the hockey team? Is it the same owner of the Jazz?
Yeah, so it's Ryan Smith and his group. So they own the Jazz, they own Real Salt Lake, they own the women's soccer team.
They got a monopoly in Utah.
They're blowing up. Yep.
So are the colors going to be similar to the Jazz?
I don't think so, because again, that's the other thing is once they come up with a name, they supposedly have some group out there that's going to come up with the colors and logo and all that kind of stuff. But I think if it's Yeti, it's going to be like a powder blue and white. If it's Outlaws, I could see it being more of a brown, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. It's one of those that they put it up to a vote. A lot of people are pretty torn. I think it's right now. I would probably guess that it's Yeti, probably 60%, Outlaws 40%.
Is there anything linked with this team, colors, mascot, logo, anything to your state flag that's got a beehive on it?
No, I don't think any of the beehive stuff's going to flow into.
That's too bad. They can name the arena the Come to the Hive.
Well, and that was one of the names that they came up with the Swarm.
Oh,
but it didn't get enough votes to make it through the first round. But yeah, the Swarm could have been a cool name, and then just like call the arena the Hive.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been cool, but I think a lot of people out here, they just were like, yeah, we don't want to have that incorporated, and yeah.
Why not? That's kind of cool, man.
I'm going to tell you, Devin, you're going to get a good hockey team this year. You're not getting an expansion team. You're getting the Arizona Coyotes. They remind me so much of Quebec when they moved to Colorado. They were already kind of sneaky good, but they needed to get out of there, add some pieces, and I think I would not be surprised to see Devin at a playoff game on TV. Devin's there because the Utah Yetis, I could see them making the playoffs in the Western Conference in their first year there. I'm predicting it right now.
Bring it on. I like it.
All right. Sean.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you bring up the Coyotes thing, because the Coyotes were playing to a crowd of less
5,000.
than 5,000 people.
Well, then they moved to Arizona State University's arena.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When they announced the team that was coming to Utah, they had kind of a welcome party down at the Delta Center.
Yep.
They had inside the arena, they had like 7,500 people packed into the arena, and they cut it off. And then like the outside of the arena was just bunches of people. I made it down there too late to make it inside. There was easily over 5,000 people standing outside watching on the little screens they had on the outside. Just here's the team, here's the coach, like, welcome to Utah. Like, that's insane for these guys to come up and be like, we had no fans down there, and we've got 5,000 people standing outside and can't get in. I think that's cool.
That's very cool. Well, let us know when you get it. Send us a picture when you get your jersey.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know who's the biggest name on this team.
They've got a lot of young talent. Can you gotta give me a second, because I do a lot of fantasy hockey. I watch a lot of hockey, a lot of fantasy hockey.
Yeah. Shut up.
He stunned me in the off season.
Yeah, he's got two different pieces of paraphernalia here. That's Bruins shit.
We're all in Buffalo, diehard Bruins fans. Devin.
He's the only one.
Oh,
He's the only one.
That's terrible.
Yes, I know.
I mean, I hate all of that city.
Right?
What's the hatred with? Oh, is it New England? Is it the Tom Brady?
New
Bill
England,
Belichick?
yeah.
Yes,
New England.
That I can
Boston
understand.
Bruins, Celtics, New England Revolution. Just
jeez.
Terrible place.
Devin's a soccer guy.
Oh, I got another question while he's fact checking himself over here. What is Salt Lake City or Utah's claim to fame for food?
We don't have any food here. We have green Jello. Like
green Jello.
Yeah, I mean that's our big thing. Is all the Mormons make green Jello with carrots in it for funerals and stuff like that. So
what's with the carrots in it?
I don't know. I mean, people are weird. They put stuff in Jello. We're like the number one consumers of Jello, and specifically green Jello in like the world.
See, Sean, what you learned?
No,
You're always learning something new.
Here's something. If you want to see something funny, go onto TikTok and go to the official Jello JELLO page. They actually sent a message to the owners of the hockey team here saying, "Hey, why not the green Jellos?" I mean, it's a funny little video they put together, because that's kind of like something weird that Utah has, but we don't have anything that's like specific to Utah. That's our main dish.
So you go to your grocery store, you go down the whatever aisle the Jello's in, and it's just all green Jello in there?
There's a ton of green Jello, yeah.
Sean, I think that's fascinating.
I think green Jello is fantastic. I mean, I don't know if I can name a team after that, but I mean,
I don't know if I've ever had green Jello.
I've had it. You went out for surgery. You had green Jello. I'm predicting right now Devin's going to get a number 9 Utah Yeti. Clayton Keller is a stud.
I know that name.
Logan Cooley, Lawson Krause.
There you go.
But 67 is not that fancy.
No.
So those are going to be your studs right there. I think they found their goaltender. I think they're up and coming. I mean, I might be speaking on a turn, but the excitement of a new, oh my God, these guys have been playing in front of 5,000 people. There are some high schools that have more of a fan base than 5,000. Arizona, They've got that off their chests. They've got a team that has been playing together for a while. It's not an expansion team. You're going to get that new hockey smell to it. The fan base is going to light them up. Listen, maybe a 7-8 spot, but hey, I think the Utah Yetis, I'm calling it right now, they're going to the playoffs. They're going to playoffs.
I'll take it.
Devin's going to get a Krause jersey. It's good. It's good.
Bold prediction, Cotton.
Congratulations on your franchise and your new franchise, buddy.
We're excited, yeah. I've never been a hockey fan because we have a minor league team one here, but I've never really gotten into it. But it's definitely on the list to definitely get into.
Hockey is a lot of fun watching live.
Yeah.
So
we had the Kings and the Knights here. That we have a preseason game every year, and I've always told myself I got to get to it. Never did until 2 years ago, and it was the Kings and the Knights. So it's preseason, and I'm like, man, this is preseason hockey. This is way better than our little minor league game.
did Eichel play?
Yeah, ran into a guy. He threw on his jersey, came down to the stadium, and like, crap, I forgot Eichel plays for the for the Knights now. So he wasn't very happy about wearing his Buffalo Eichel jersey.
Yeah. All right. Well, Devin, it's been over an hour. We've taken plenty of your time for today. Is there anything else?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Is there anything else you'd like to shout out, bring up before we say goodbye?
I just want to say, hey, thanks to my Salt Lake City Bills backers, the group in general. They have made me being a Bills fan so much more exciting because, I never dreamed of watching a Bills game outside of a stadium with another Bills fan, let alone a bar full of it. And I tell as many people as I can, thank you at the bar. And so just super excited. Shout out to my wife for helping me out. I mean, she's always there helping me at the bar. So thanks, Brenda, and my son, Clayton. It's awesome to go to a bar with your son. So once you get a 21-year-old, pretty great.
Yeah.
Next year I get my daughter because she'll turn 21, so the whole family will get to go.
Off air, we talked about how looking at your Facebook page, I was easily able to identify who Devin was with the Zumbas. The crowd, you looked like you had 100+ people in that photo representing the Buffalo Bills. It's a fantastic Facebook page. Please check it out. If ZaBills Nation finds themselves in Salt Lake City, Utah, the Brickyard, 3000 South, Highland Drive, Mill Creek, Utah, go Yetis. Go Yetis.
Love it, Sean. All right, folks, I guess that'll do it. Devin, if you don't mind hanging on for a second. And go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
ZaBills Podcast is a presentation of Kmart Productions, sponsored by MJB Electric and Dudza Chiropractic. Thank you for listening, and if you haven't, please follow, rate, review the show. It helps with the algorithm. ZaBills is executively produced by me, Kyle. Executive sound engineering by yours truly, also me. Fundraising, also by Kyle. All artwork executively produced by Avery and Mark Rochon. What the heck is this? All music and lighting executively produced by Kyle. That's more like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Good night.